ago or something.
Oh, that would be amazing. I regret not having a second breakfast today. Quite nice.
Second breakfast.
Second breakfast is good. I thought the Hobbits actually got that kind of stuff right. This continual eating throughout the day.
My lad must be a 6'2" hobbit.
I still just see the continual buffet down both sides of the room, and then we could just graze all the time.
Some form of conveyor belt in my lad's case, I think.
Yep, that would work. I hear they do that well with sushi.
Foie gras kind of thing.
Little
Fries
buckets of just
shove it in.
Yep, that could work with that. That should be fine.
Whether we'll in his soul, though, I don't know.
You can't fill the gaps in one's soul. You can just pack it in more densely.
Just buy more stuff.
Yeah, I think so. And eventually, once you're overwhelmed by capitalism, you don't need a soul anymore, do you? That's fine. It must be Sunday.
Yeah.
Are we on Facebook now? Is that happening?
We are on Facebook now.
The little red ticker in the top left, it says we've been on for 42 minutes and they've heard everything.
Oh my God. This is very bad. I get occasional sun glare. I'm not quite sure what direction the sun is coming from at the moment, but it seems to be all directions at random.
All directions randomly.
No sun over here. Well, Angeli, I specifically wanted to ask you, how did the whole Twitch gaming thing go yesterday with the?
I think it went pretty well. We had well over 100 views as we were playing. The people in the audience seemed quite sort of intrigued by the whole story, and people were asking questions, and I was ignoring them because I'm going to deal with that. But
I answered some of their questions.
Oh, thanks. I was going to say she probably needed a civilian mod sitting next to her to do the admin.
Yeah, I was lucky, but I couldn't believe that you actually got through the scenario and wrapped up with 5 minutes to spare. That was impressive.
Yeah.
I skipped all the combat. I was like, you know what? I don't know how to run combat. I haven't learned it yet. It's just.
It was. I found it very entertaining. I sat there quite happily watching it with while playing with Lego. It was very nice. Everyone seemed very into it. The nice mob of authors were very good. I think Tarek's is my favourite, Megan's tree character, who was just looking for friends. Yeah, it was really nice and successful. I was pleased because obviously having laid out most of that adventure for the downloadable thing, I recognised most of what was going on, and having played a little bit of Edge of Empire, I kind of understood what was going on with the dice as well, which was surprising. Because the dice blew my mind when I started playing Edge of Empire. If we weren't for having a very generous DM who's like, yeah, just press the button and I'll tell you if something bad happens. I think I would have been properly lost.
Well, we used a website that literally you just said, I want 3 of this, 2 of this, and then it told you how many successes and failures and things. So you didn't even have to look at like the symbols. You just read the line that said 2 successes, 1 threat. It's like perfect.
It's good. Yeah, we use Roll20 for Star Wars, and for that you put your full character profile into it, which, having not done that before, left me a little bit confused. But then after that, it's like, well, do an agility check. It's like, I'll press that button. Am I agile? No. Which is why my Tusken Raider character has currently got a massive hole in him and is trapped underneath a home base in a droid separatist factory. So that's going to go well.
Yeah, I've done that for the Tales from the Loop game. I put all the characters in there so that they just press the button and it will roll it for them. It's going to be magic.
And are these facilities set up for the specific games?
Most stuff's on them. So the Keyforge version isn't on Roll20, which is why we didn't use Roll20, because it's got like Ambercraft and it's
been out
a bit different.
Indeed.
Roll20 is really good for, like, you can have the professional subscription, like it's a yearly subscription, which gives you like access to loads and loads of more stuff. But if you just have a free account, for a lot of the systems, they have character sheets available for you to just add your information into. But you can buy like proper modules. So if you wanted to play D&D Waterdeep, they have the module that you can buy, and it comes with music, and it comes with maps and tokens.
Wonderful.
And it's a good thing.
That's Sunday's first recommendation then, roll20.com.
I was really impressed. Also, the RDM has a whole bank of like voice changing things. So he flicks on his stormtrooper voice and his random alien voices and stuff. That's really good. Very impressed. Since the first role play I've ever done has been online, having not done it in person, that's it seems hard to imagine having a paper character sheet and having to actually roll dice now.
Well, the rolly dice thing in the old days would take the place of your sword blow. I'm going to get this orc. I'm going to get this orc.
Ah, yeah. I can see that.
I'm really used to like having digital rolls now because I use D&D Beyond for like when we're playing. So I have my character sheet, and now they have built-in digital dice as well. So you can just have your character sheet on your iPad, press the button, and it does it all. And I don't have to like carry all the dice and things.
The dice are so pretty.
They are, and
you have pretty dice on D&D Beyond. It's not just like a red dice. You can all sorts of swirly ones, and they make noises, and a void comes up and sucks them away.
What about all the metal ones? UK Games Expo last year, about a third of all the stalls were just selling different kinds of dice, which I found wonderfully intriguing to look at.
And then the velvet trays to stop your table being knackered.
Yeah,
absolutely. I like the dice towers.
My brother built me a dice tower for Christmas year before last. It's like wooden, and it folds out, and it's all like felt inside, and he's like done like pyro scratching on it of a dragon, and it's really cool.
That should be the title of your blog. My brother built me a dice tower, a girl's guide to gaming.
Is that the same brother who made you the big ruined farmhouse?
The big inn.
Yes, that's it. Yes. A talented gent. That's very cool.
He is. It's really, really talented. I really like getting my birthday Christmas presents from him because they're always things that he's made or painted and stuff.
God, that's an extra level of effort, isn't it?
I know. Well, the inn I got for Christmas, he was like, I started this in July and I was going to give it to you for your birthday, but I only finished it a week ago.
It's still incredibly thoughtful.
Yeah, that is the problem with that. I like making birthday cards for like family members because it's otherwise it's just going to be another Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles card, isn't it? Off the rack at Tesco or whatever is currently popular. I find that's a good alternative to putting a genuine effort into the relationship.
I would assume there's gamer-centric birthday cards and similar merch out there. I don't think I've ever seen any, but I bet.
Yeah, the Noble Artist, Jamie from the Noble Artist, he does game-specific birthday cards and you can download them on his website or buy them pre-printed on his website. They're really fun because they're always a bit silly.
Fan crew have sorted that out since they've all got milk type, got wood type slogans.
I call that got wheat. That's all I'm feeling.
No, because I'm gluten free.
Oh no, that's true. Oh, you can't have wheat. Gluten-free crumbly bread instead. I think that should be fine.
Well, I think they should do gluten-free Catan. I think there's a gap in the market they've missed there for our modern diets.
It does seem like a game that you could ideally make out of toast, doesn't it? You could easily get like a toast press that cuts it. I don't know why I want that now.
That's a separate question.
I think I'm craving toast.
Does anyone make hex-based cookies? Because I have to say, a Catan made of gingerbread would be mighty fun. I think.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Undoubtedly get hex-based cutters.
So then you can, that would be a cool Christmas present for someone. You could just make loads of gingerbread and then put it in a little box and be like, here is Catan in gingerbread form.
I'm sure I've seen board games made of edible stuff where you kind of eat them as you play them.
I've seen edible dice and I've seen like edible meeples and things. They're delicious.
That seems very dangerous partway through a game. I would easily just eat all my carcass on meeples. Oh, man.
The character dies, you eat the meeple for it.
Oh, he's injured on his left arm. Get the red icing.
It's everywhere. Oh, I like that idea. Well, we should definitely find someone to pursue these things. Get your brother on it, Angeli.
Yes, okay, I will.
We would like a full gingerbread Catan by Christmas. That would be delightful. That we could eat in the office.
Bake your own Catan. I think that'd be great.
Actually, that would work particularly well for something like Escape from Atlantis, where as the waves rise, you do take away the pieces.
Forbidden Island probably the same. Yeah, where things get swallowed by the waves, or Uncle John across the way he's had too many beers.
That'd be great.
Hey, folks listening in, what game would you like to see in bakeware or cookie version? The address on the screen.
I'd be very curious to see what people would actually do with that. I think we found a whole new product line for someone.
Yeah,
I can't cook, so this would be great.
Games and take a drink when. I think modifying that to eat a piece of board when would be perfect.
Yeah, Asmodee Bakeware is the newest.
Did you see the Star Wars bakeware they brought out? Was it last year? The really expensive stuff, like Le Creuset style, where you had like this Han Solo in carbonite as a casserole dish and stuff like that.
That's pretty cool.
It was insanely expensive.
Stormtrooper like whiskey decanter in glasses.
I keep seeing those.
They're real nice.
Yeah, I've had the Death Star ice cubes before, which melt as soon as they start melting. It's just a spear, which is a bit disappointing, but I like the idea of it. Ooh, Zombicide Black Plague.
You have to leave all the bits out to get mouldy first, don't you? Go all green.
Oh no! Well, you have to chew their buboes first.
Edible wingspan with mini eggs, perfect. Yeah, anything with eggs. Regular Zombicide with gummy bear zombies. Oh, you smash it.
I've not played Wingspan yet, but if it can be played with mini eggs, I'm interested in the game.
We can play it on Tabletopia maybe next week. We can learn to play it together because I really want to play Wingspan. It's on my playlist.
Yeah, Wingspan's taken a little while getting to the UK. It's one of those where the UK, alas, is the end of the supply chain. It was such a big hit, they kept reprinting it, and every 20 copies that came into the UK went straight out to accounts. But we
were looking for it. We were looking for Expo last year, weren't we? We couldn't find it.
Yeah, I don't think Asmodee got it until it was after quite late. It just kept getting pushed back. I remember.
And then every box went out to Chaos or Zatu or Spirit, one of the wonderful game stores, for their pre-orders. But
they had the smaller,
more available now.
Didn't they have the smaller version of Wingspan as well, or was that something else?
It's expansion. So it's
what we were playing, Peep Mats, which is advertised as the cut down card game, play it in 10 minutes version of Wingspan, because
that was not the 10-minute game.
Birds trying to eat seed off the bird table, and you have to stack them up.
Yeah,
we played that.
I thought that we did. I thought that was great. I found it somewhat hard to wrap my head around, but a good game.
Yeah, it took a while to get the concept. It seemed a bit backwards the way things worked, and in the last 10 minutes, we're like, oh, actually, perhaps this deserves another play. But of course, other games got in the way before then.
Yeah, you might like that, Angeli, partly because it's got birds on.
Probably not dissimilar to something like Arboretum, or if you've played Fungi, the mushroom eating game, where you get to take things close to you without cost or further away with cost, and you have to juggle how much.
Sounds like another thing where you need to have them little jelly mushrooms.
Oh, fungi, most definitely. Yeah, all sorts of jelly morals and different types. But you need
just the amazing coconut mushrooms, which are one of my favourite treats. I have a whole bag of those just to get through this weekend. Oh yeah, I was looking through the Games Expo freebie coupon book from last year, which I failed to look at until we'd left the expo. As always, with everything that I get at a convention, I had loads of cool games in.
I bought Arboretum last year. We've played that.
Did we play that?
Yes. Well, actually, I think we played it when you weren't around. Lottie and I certainly played it. She quite liked it. For those who don't know, listening in, the Aconite crew, when we were allowed to work in offices without looking like Cybermen or something, Friday lunchtime is our games lunch, where we kick back, chill out, discuss the bullshit of the week and plans for the weekend, and try and play a few games. Different members of the team bringing in a few games each time, or just picking some off the ever-increasing pile gathering on the show.
And I'm never bringing in any games again.
Oh, I think you're like 4-hour role-playing games.
I'm very sorry. I bought the dungeon one. That was quick, but I won both times, and therefore was assumed I cheated.
That's the downside. And I think Lottie found this too, where you bring in favourite games, but you've played them 5 times. And everyone else is like, I don't even know what I'm doing here. And you're like, I've just won. Is that all right with everyone?
I've never played before, so I'll bring in all of those ones that I got in the Asmodee sale. It's like 70p for that one. It's like, I'll take that one. And that.
Yeah. I mean, I enter most of them with the assumption that I'm going to lose. It takes me a while to wrap my head around the rules. But I having embraced failure, I now mostly enjoy the experience of playing, and don't worry too much about the outcome.
I'm really enjoying the Flux games. Like, just really enjoy the silliness and stupidity of it, and just I don't feel bad when I lose those ones because I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. There's so many.
There's no way to control it. Many gamers would say that's the worst sort of game, but it takes me back to we used to play Squad Leader like that, let alone a silly card game. So when no one knows what the hell's going on and it's all a bit random.
Yeah, well, it was perfect. We were playing Monster. We were playing Monster Flux yesterday lunchtime on Tabletopia, and I won because Angeli gave me my winning hand.
I forgot that there was a rule where you could just get rid of your gold cards, and I was like, oh no, I have to play them all. I play this. Oh no, next one.
That is the only way I ever win.
Well, even when the game is madly random and complete bullshit, you still have to know what the rules are and still play.
Yeah.
If you want
to. This whole paying attention thing, it's nightmarish, isn't it?
Yeah. And by that time, I really didn't know what day it was or what time of day it was, because I had like 30 minutes to myself yesterday where I quickly threw like 5 chicken nuggets down my throat. I was like, that's enough. Okay, back to the grind.
Yeah, well, you've got an even busier schedule today.
Yes, I have.
But
I finished at 4 at least, not 9. So I can finish at 4 and then just collapse onto the floor.
I think you'll have earned that. Yeah, well, I enjoyed the stuff yesterday. It was nice seeing David Geimer chatting about Shield Can stuff. That was all very cool. It was nice showing off the Fractured Void cover, which is still very pretty. That's soon to become my portrait monitor background, I think. I like all that.
Yeah, we should investigate doing some screensavers and downloadable wallpapers on all this stuff. Obviously, book covers don't always lend themselves unless they're full wraps. But,
this is true.
Phone screens as well. Yeah, a domino on your phone or whatever would look very pretty.
Yeah,
that's true. Yes, Curse of Honor, which we've used for the background for this, is awesome. But yeah, you lose so much, no matter how you crop it, which is sad.
Yeah.
Don't know what we could do. You could wrap it around the glass.
Yeah, you're just going to have to be more horizontal stuff. What can I say?
Well, that's all right. Well, yes, I don't see a reason why we couldn't do the picture like vertically.
Let's make all of our books like this. Yes, we'll revolutionise book reading. We can just be like, yes,
yep, see that. I'm trying to think which publisher did it. It might even have been Penguin, but there was a set done like that, and they were slightly squatter. They thought the full width of the B-form paperback was too much, so they're slightly squatter, almost like a square book, and then you read them that way. And so some Japanese mangas read like that. And in terms of cover design, that's been done quite a lot. I know the early Neil Ashes that Pan Mac did were sideways, and in fact, some of the Dark Future books we did for Black Flame, the Games Workshop Black Library spin-off, were done deliberately sideways because it's all kind of cyberpunk and designy.
Yeah, they were pretty. I need to find mine. I think mine are still back at my parents' house.
Remaining shops across the land, alas, not in such is the way of things.
I remember my brother and I enjoying them greatly. I found a box of my old Warhammer miniatures as well upstairs. They do not look good. I was thinking about bringing them down, but they're so horrifically painted. I'm not sure I can bear to show them off. Although they are in one of the nice battle tank boxes, which is quite nice from some time ago. I can't believe we kept anything useful like that. So maybe I can flog the box alone for buy some Lego with it instead.
When I was sorting all my games covered out, I found a box of I must see all these on eBay at some point things which I'd totally forgotten about, and the treasures are quite spectacular. So the limited things, and a couple of boxes of the very early Citadel D&D official miniatures, a player set and a monster set.
Oh, cool.
The original foam, but the foam is starting to rot to dust now. 32 years old or whatever.
Yes, it wasn't really meant for that.
Before they completely go. Like, here's the box that you paid 200 quid for. Bin bag.
Yes, I do worry about that stuff. I follow the Leicester Vintage Toy Shop on Facebook because they have many things that I remember from my childhood.
Branch in Derby now as well.
Yes, I've not been to that one yet. But I was looking at some of it. They had some of the Boglins, which you may or may not remember. Which
rubber face.
Yes, those exactly those things that came in.
Boglins. And they
came in a cardboard cage.
Like cage,
yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They got some of those, and I think that those are old enough now that the foam rubber they're made of is just starting to crack. I was watching Rick and Morty yesterday, and that's one of Rick's prized possessions as a Boglin. somewhere in season 4. He's got tucked under a desk. I was quite tickled by that.
When we did a whole bunch of limited edition versions of the background books that we did for Black Library, including 4 based on the 4 Chaos Gods that led up to the full collected Liber Chaotica, and the Nurgle one particularly was challenging. It was had like a plastic sleeve full of slime with debris in it. There was all deeply infected. They're stamped with some Ian Miller really scribbly Nurgle icons, and then that was all sealed in a wooden box that had been burnt, stained with more random icons and scars and things. After about 6 months, the slimy stuff just turned to gel, from a semi-liquid to a solid, and was like scrunched up little crystals of disgusting turquoise gloop with dead flies and shavings and things in it.
Oh, invaluable.
There were a few folks that say, "I can't believe it." Well, yeah, we bought this 6 months ago and it's decayed. Well, like the god Nurgle, decay, disease. I said, I got the guys to send back a very polite note saying, "Terribly sorry, we will of course refund your money, or you could just sell it on eBay, noting it goes for about $1,000 currently, and you paid $110. Which would you like?" Bizarre, but presumably it went off to a good home, or they've still got it rotting away somewhere.
That's a good call, but buy expensive things that are worth a lot and worth a lot for resale, and it's fine. I'm not sure I want to buy too much broken junk. Though I have done when I look at things like Star Wars toys and Transformers that are available on eBay. I'm like, oh, all the stickers are missing and it looks like it's been thrown out of a window several times, but I still kind of want it.
It's only 14 quid and normally they're 17. So,
exactly. Yeah. He's got no legs, but he looks great. It's a splendid Tyrannosaurus Rex. Very tempting. I saw Hasbro did their ridiculously large crowd-funded Unicron that was $600 to even join the crowdfund, and it's a gigantic Unicron, the planet-eating transformer that transforms from a robot into this sort of huge eating planet, and apparently it takes 4 hours to transform, which is awful. It looks amazing, but that's madness. I don't think you'd ever actually transform it, or you get stuck partway through and snap a leg off, and then cry for a week. Just regret everything. I got plenty of those that are quite hard to do. They did a Transformers and Star Wars crossover about 15 years ago. They did a lovely little Darth Vader that transforms into a Death Star, which is very cool, and I have on a shelf somewhere. But that's fiendish to transform. Anything transforming from a sphere into a standing thing is not going to be straightforward. I like this sort of junk.
We haven't really got any giant robots in our range at the moment, have we? And I think sci-fi is slightly underrepresented. We only have Twilight Imperium at the moment. And then obviously some of the Marvel titles will head towards that. Asgard certainly will, and there's a couple of other things on the way. But interested to know what other game-based IPs folks might want us to do books based on.
Hey, chat, answer that question for us now.
Yes, whoever's listening in, feel free to suggest stuff. But obviously, the Twilight Imperium guys are very happy to hear about the fiction that's on the way. It'd be nice to make other folks happy.
Yeah, I'm very excited that we got a space opera. It's by far my favorite genre of fiction and what I go back to most often. So the idea of making space opera that I can then read, I find very exciting. Working with Tim Pratt at Angry Robot was great to get the Axiom series out, which I've followed, and I backed his Kickstarter to produce a novella and set of short stories set in the same Axiom universe as well, because I want more of that ridiculous alien nonsense and intergalactic threats. I'd love to have more stuff like that in our range.
I think it's my least favorite.
Is that irritating squeak your gazebo about to fall down?
Maybe.
I noticed Angela muted to try and make it go away, and it didn't go away.
Is it me? Well, I can't hear it at all.
I can't hear it now.
Stop now. The wind stopped blowing.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, I'll try.
Suddenly be buried under a collapsed tent. Really.
This has survived through multiple storms this year, including that one where we got like 4 months of rain in an hour. It is held down by 2 paving slabs on either side. Huge, like the kind of straps that you use to attach a car to the back of a lorry, which has done all right. Not bad for a 23 quid gazebo that's been in the garage for 15 years. My external office has been...
Well, the perils of pandemic, really, isn't it? And a lot of the challenges we've been faced with, not just us, but everybody, has been has changed a lot of things. I think for gaming, and seeing so much online stuff now has been, I think it is a major game changer for stuff. I used to have to, within individual apps, you do the find me a player, and 3/4 of the time you wouldn't find anyone who wants to play the particularly obscure game you're desperate to whoop some stranger's ass with. I'm always a bit down on those. I don't like the competitive element of the lone gunslinger turning up, because there's always some hustling prat who will just kick your butt on these things. James says Eon's End fiction, not going to happen since the day title. Well, I would never say never on these things. There's a joke there which we probably shouldn't tell about Asmodee. Everyone ultimately is an Asmodee company, of course. And of course, for some of the folks we're talking to, they're not for future plans. They're folks we distribute, but they're not members of the Asmodee family. So we do extend our services, just as Asmodee do for the distribution, and our digital team extend the digitization program out to folks who we also distribute. We offer the same for those folks.
Well, plus, I mean, Marvel are notably not an Asmodee company.
That's very true.
And we're doing quite a lot of Marvel novels. So, that's not a thing to worry about. We kind of want to do stories with everybody, don't we?
I think the key thing is finding enough stories and enough characters within things. And that's characters not who just replay the events of what the main subject of the game is. Not a novelization.
We should have a Wingspan story. Just a nice story about birds and bird watchers.
I'd say the tweets, mate.
Eon's End looks fun. I've not heard of that before. That's an underground city of Gravehold, where the remnant society have learned the energy of the very breaches the beings used to attack them can be repurposed through various gems, transforming malign energies into beneficial spells and weapons. Sounds kind of fun. Breach mages.
Sounds like very dark fantasy-esque, isn't it?
Yeah, we don't. I'd welcome a bit more dark fantasy too. Descent is a little bit more chipper than that, I would say.
Yeah, it sounds a bit like Midnight, the old fifth edition add-on that Fantasy Flight did, which was again the kind of world where Sauron won and you're in the Resistance.
What about Everdale? Little anthropomorphic animals going on adventures.
I'm just enjoying Mark's face for this.
Surprisingly more.
They could be lovely little stories. They could be like just
happy things happen
with animals, little badgers, and little
I'm all over it. Our mate Paul Scott Canterman, cover artist, and his missus have done an awful lot of the art for that.
I love it.
Very cute.
Spectacular. It is basically Animal Crossing with swords and shields.
Yeah, that's what we need. That's what the world needs.
Sounds to me like you've got it, mate. I'm not sure.
I think what I want is more of a science fiction version like Duncton Wood, and that kind of stuff. I'd like to see a little bit more of that in stories. But it's very hard. I think what normally happens is that the animals, once anthropomorphized, are just ordinary people, and there's nothing that distinguishes the species and the different types and races anymore, which seems like a bit of a loss. You have a chance to have true aliens like, I don't know, tortoises and scorpions, but they just become ordinary people mixed in with the rest of them. That seems like a loss.
I'm not totally convinced by that. Certainly in Brian Jacks's books, they stay very, very different.
I've not read Red War.
I did an RPG set in that. I got to play a hedgehog. She was the best, and her skill was sewing. But it made her a very good medic because she could stitch up any injuries.
Not if I'd been GMing.
It was so wholesome.
Halberd, 30 seconds.
We had a little otter boy, and we had me as the hedgehog, and we have a big badger warrior and a little mole.
8,000 zombies come over the hill. What do you do?
You burrow hard.
And the weasels.
That sounds quite true. I mean, it sounds a little bit like the Nightmare of Watership Down, terrifying children everywhere.
It was so sweet though.
What's the war game where you play the different cutesy factions? Is that Root?
Small. There's Root is the animal. Yeah, basically.
One. Yeah, Root in space. I can say that because they deliberately use the skills of the particular animal factions, like the cats and the birds and so on, and the rabbits,
that's cool.
to fuel their skills. And taking that into space, I've no doubt on the success of that, which is apparently.
I really want the RPG, the Root RPG. Yeah, so in our little game, our DM was she's also an artist, and she drew all of our characters in the style of Roots because the Kickstarter was going on at the time as well. It's adorable. I need to find a picture of it. It's so cute.
That's really nice. I think it's nice when you get the artwork and the fun to tell a story together. It makes it very real. So I saw partly why I've been enjoying our commissioning of cover art for all of our stuff. It's nice to get a splendid artist for a start to produce something that represents the novel or tells a nice little moment from it. And they're all coming on beautifully. We have a whole bunch of things to look at next week.
It's amazing that they can do it. Yeah, I'm okay at writing and working with the words. Oh yeah, I can do that. And obviously, part of my job is making sure that it's polished and even better than the author does it. But the artwork is just like, what do you mean you just sat and created that in a couple of hours? How dare you be so talented to be able to draw these things properly?
I know, makes you want to cry, doesn't it? It's interesting that I also find it somehow much more impressive than the writing at times, which in itself is not an easy thing to do and a considerable set of talent to do it. I guess perhaps because I can't draw very well, but I can at least use a typewriter or a keyboard to some degree of success. That said, I guess I should have reused my art A level a little bit more. Maybe I could still draw things then.
Yeah, you just put words level on a page. Leave it at that. That'll be fine.
It's a good skill set. I mean, I can't do that handwriting, so I think keyboard really helps for that.
Yeah,
I was trying to read some of my notes from a couple of weeks ago in my notebook about stuff at work. Like, this could be literally anything.
I was reminded the other day because they're reissuing all the Power Behind the Throne, Death on the Right, Woofrup, the first set of Absolute Classic Adventures. A lot of handouts, handwritten in those, and I did half of those. Utterly forgotten even doing them. And then he said, "All credit, calligraphy by Mark and Graham and a bunch of other folks." It's like, really? I did. Oh my god! But who was that Callow youth who did all that that allegedly smooth calligraphy? It looks awful as well compared to.
Well,
but
74 years in gaming, it's bound to be something you forget, Mark.
Well, for one of them, they're doing for all of them, they're doing limited editions, and one of them is by the late Carl Sargent, who I wrote a lot of things with, and we were a creative team, and I wrote a little obituary, as it were, and memoir of him, and I think that's where I get my writing gigs. He said, "Oh, Mark, can you just write about all these other contributors who've all died?" Last man standing.
Oh no! Well, you'll have to write your own in case there's no one left when it comes around to you.
I just stood behind people and made them great. That's all I did.
Oh, that's a very nice thing to do. that's almost modest for a moment there. That's very good.
Kept a straight face for a second. I think after a while, you just if you keep it anything, the credits build up. Though, to be honest, you look back and think, "Oh, wait, I have done a lot," but it's only I joined in 1984 and never left. What do you expect?
I suppose that's true.
The annoying is when people say, "Oh, what's the best thing you ever worked on?" Because I always lie and pretend it's the Sonic the Hedgehog novel that features all the parodies of horror films. So you have a pin and a pinhead version of a pig and a rabbit in a hockey mask with a chainsaw. And
they sound lovely.
Angela's got some of them. She was telling us yesterday, but she hasn't.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Oh man,
Castle Robotnik, that one, one of the ones Angela hasn't got, where the evil Dr. Eggman, Robotnik, decides that he'd set up a fake film studio and lure all the animals in to play these things, and then Sonic would come in and have to defeat them all, but he's hypnotized them all into being movie monsters.
I should check whether my brother had any of these actually, because he was into Sonic at about the right time.
They were quite mad. We had after we'd done them, we had a note from the MD of Virgin Books who published them saying, "I just wanted to say, you guys, I was reading one of these to my child, son or daughter, in bed last night. I thought, oh, this is going to be awful, but we get the freebies, so we'll have a go." They like Sonic, but I've noticed there's a thinly veiled homage to the Kennedy assassination in Chapter 4, and I almost wet myself laughing, and I couldn't tell my child what I was doing.
Oh, that's the best of multi-layered.
Thank you very much. So yes, that's what we were keen to do.
I think that's good. It's always important to recognise that even though games like Sonic are plainly for children, I assume it's mostly played by adults of our age and older.
I think back in the day it was for children, but a lot of the memory means that it's parents and children, and the parents are often slightly more excited than the kids. That's why you have endless Thunderbirds reboots and those sort of things. And it's actually, I suspect things like Judge Dredd these days, the audience for those is ever aging, and those who always loved it still love it, and everyone else is just slightly bemused by the latest reboot. Though Sonic movie did well, I don't know whether it was because there was so little else in the cinemas as lockdown started to hit or whatever. But once they sorted out the false teeth problem,
I saw a lot of people saying that Sonic was a lot better than they expected it to be, which isn't necessarily the same as it being good.
I think
but I guess
had to take a 5 or 6 year old to see it, and they were handing them out at the cinema door if you didn't have one, so you look less suspicious.
I have not yet seen it. I'm a little sad that they fixed his terrifying legs and stuff.
And teeth.
Like,
and
why
eyes
have you
and
got a
eyes.
human mouth, you weirdo?
Yeah, that's lots of lovely creative decisions there. I saw on a similar note of films being redone. The Snyder cut of Justice League is coming, and it's over 4 hours long.
Well, it was almost unbearable at 2 hours 10 or whatever it was. So.
It really was. I'm excited.
There are folks who like that sort of stuff. Yeah, there are folks who like everything.
Yes, I'm very curious to see what it's going to work out like. I like the DC characters. I keep watching DC films because I want them to be as good as I enjoy some of the characters in the comic books. So I'm clearly going to keep watching them.
Having seen the extended trailer last night, I'm up for that.
Yes, that looked quite daft. Yeah, I look forward to that.
It looks pretty cool, but not sure about anything else they're doing. But, anyway, we're loyal to Marvel at the moment, anyway, don't we?
This is true. Well, yes, my endless loop of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is continued. So, my colours are plainly displayed.
Well, it's about time there were more Marvel-based hobby games and a decent RPG again. No doubt someone's keeping an eye on it. Could just be the money, I suppose. But it's we could do some more superhero games. Mutants and Masterminds, very venerable from Green Ronin, has continued to hold the flag for that one. A very playable game, but I suspect some of these licenses are quite expensive.
Yes, I can imagine so. Yeah, I think I'd like to play games where I'm truly inhabiting superhero characters and getting that vibe. I quite like the games where you get to be a super monster. Was it Attack on Tokyo we were playing?
King of Tokyo.
King of Tokyo. See, I like that. I can inhabit the personality of a city-destroying monster. This feels very natural.
Is that the one where you sometimes flick things and?
I don't think we had flicking. No.
No, that's just it's a dice builder.
Okay.
Little monsters, and you have special abilities.
I played one just before Christmas at Eclectic Games on their Christmas party night, and you were all Godzillas, and everything was built up, and then you sometimes had to flick your Godzilla character, and you're trying to knock down the buildings, and they've got meeples in, and you're trying to eat the meeples that are in there to collect.
Flying goblins and those sort of major games, and the various Flick It games.
Yeah, and you're trying to knock over everyone else's Godzillas, but also trying to break the buildings so you can eat the meeples that you desperately need.
Well, again, that made out of some form of biscuit material or chocolate. Perfectly acceptable. Which knows where we came in. Not
true. Yeah, you're not hungry at all. I know. I picked up that game, Attack of the Jelly Monster, which is a very cute little game, and it has lots of dice. So it's trying to take control of territory largely, and with these various cute little icons and stuff. I found it quite perplexing to play initially, but when I played it with my young nieces, they suddenly got hold of it, and you give them a very short time span to lay your dice and to claim different bits of the territory of the city that's being overwhelmed by the jelly monster, and they got super aggressive with it and very, very active. And the game started to come to life. I was like, oh, okay, now I get it. You're supposed to play it with this degree of extra aggression and competitiveness that I wasn't really bringing to it.
Oh no, after you, dear boy, you take the city. Oh, but it's
exactly.
Well, I don't mind. We'll play again after.
Exactly. I'm very polite about these things. So yeah, I was like, okay, I want aggression from my tiny nieces.
But isn't it great when, and not just youngsters, but folks who aren't super gamer types, perhaps you didn't think have the genes, suddenly get their hands on something. And it's oh yeah, that game you gave us for Christmas, because you said we might like it. We played it 400 times on Boxing Day. It's amazing. We bored all our friends. We bought copies for everyone. I've no doubt that Catan, not that Catan is in any way boring, but I'm sure Catan spread on that almost viral things. I had a childless couple who reached their 50s, both on second marriages, and did the tennis club and holidaying and all that sort of wine tasting and all those things. We assumed they were swingers and all this sort of stuff, but suddenly they came in and saying, "Oh, Scrabble night finished a bit early, and someone brought up this game. I don't know if you heard of it, Catan." It's like, yes, indeed. Did you like it? Oh, yes, we all loved it, and we've all gone and ordered copies off Amazon this morning.
Wow.
And we're all going to play it all the time. In fact, we're going to set up a Catan evening, and it's like, oh, Catan all night, every night. I'm not convinced by that, but the viral way that these things happen is tremendous. Looks like over the course of the pandemic, a whole bunch of games have done exactly that. We know from Asmodee that the pandemic itself, despite the somewhat dark nature of the subject matter, it could be close to home for some folks, but that's just sold and sold and sold. Perhaps because it gives people comfort in these things can be defeated if you use your brains rather than listening to idiot politicians.
Otherwise, that's not in my experience of playing Pandemic. Everyone dies horribly. But
first time we played it, we kicked its ass in about 4 rounds. I'm definitely playing it wrong. Was that the one where we hadn't put any of the plague cards into the random encounters thing? So
it might have been something like that. Yeah. Well, we did slightly better against that. We did against Arkham Horror, which ate us quite quickly. I like that too.
I think again that's often where conventions and things like and more face-to-face games expos, where you have the 5 random strangers grabbing a box of something on a demo table and say, okay, let's have a go at this, and it turns out to be the best experience, and then everyone rushes to buy it or talks about it for years later. I
like that idea. Yeah, we were talking yesterday about the Choose Your Own Adventure games. My mate John's demoing those on the Asmodee events today. So really? I might hop in later because I'm a little bit curious about those, having enjoyed the books. So I was like 9 or whatever. Curious to see how well that has translated into a game.
I don't know what the mechanics are, but there's a grand tradition of games that include effectively Choose Your Own Adventure encounters and numbers and things like that. There's a pair based on a system that West End Games came out with. One of which is Star Trek and one of which is Arabian Nights. And actually, Arabian Nights works slightly because it's got the storytelling aspect. But they have, as well as the board and encounters and objectives, you then have a 1,000, 2,000 paragraph entry options. So the story gets told out and there's story paths through these things. Absolutely spectacular games. I think there's been some more recent ones. It looks like the Princess Bride one is potentially going to be a bit along those lines. The cooperative game, which is due out any moment.
We have to end the stream there. Sorry. Because
Must
I've got to go to another stream because it never stops me. And because I'm controlling it, I have to log you out. But you can just jump back on Facebook Live via a phone and things.
There is food. Yeah.
Actually, I know everyone listening in. I know you should at a virtual convention, but please go and have a greasy hot dog somewhere because you're going to miss it later when you're on the train home.
You deserve it. You do.
I'm going to eat at 4 when I'm finally finished. Yes,
you're going to eat for 4. Wow,
good plan. That is all right. Well, thank you, Anjali, for hosting this again.
Thank you, everyone, for coming along.
I think we should just do this every day at 12, regardless of whether there's.
I like it. Yeah, I just like having a nice chat with you all. It'd be nice to do like a nice 30-minute hangout, talk, rubbish.
Actually, hey, weren't we planning on doing this?
Yeah.
This has been a good test for us. Yeah.
Perhaps Friday lunchtimes or something. We should have half an hour.
Yeah.
Ask us anything, but while we eat crisps.
Yeah.
That'll be some amazing chewing noises.
Right. So long,
everybody. Buy group stuff. It's all good.